Good morning, Pastor Tom Harris here with you at the Bible study table. I got my right-hand man, Wilson Martinez, with me this morning. My left-hand man, Josh Harris, here at the table with me this morning. And we are here with you for our virtual Sunday school this morning. We are looking at Isaiah chapter 7. Now, if you haven't read Isaiah chapter 7, you know what to do. What should they do?
They should put this thing on pause and read this baby.
All right, you go ahead, put it on pause and read it and come right back to us. All right, guys, they're back. They read it. You read it. What did you think about the chapter as you read it?
Intense.
Okay, intense.
Very well, how do I put this? Kind of what will happen bad.
Okay. Who was confused?
Uh,
Were you confused when you read it?
kind of.
No.
Not really.
Oh, that's because I explained it to you as you read it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you guys are a bunch of cheaters here, okay? You know what? It's very easy to read this chapter and be kind of discouraged. Like, I don't understand who all the people are, okay? Here's how we take this chapter and we make it so that we can understand it, okay? Now, Wilson, Josh, you're going to help us out this morning, okay?
Okay.
We're going to read verse 1. And you're going to tell me the names of all the different characters. We've got to sort this out because this chapter is full of lots of different characters, okay? So verse 1 says, "And it came to pass in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah, that Rezim, the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up towards Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it." Okay. So let's start simply first, okay? We have 3 different countries mentioned in this verse, okay? We're going to write them down on a piece of paper, and then we're going to lay them out here on the table in the order that they would have been, okay?
All right.
I'll go ahead and write, all right?
Judah.
Okay, so you got
First
Judah, all right? So
I'll read
Judah is the first one. So we'll write Judah on a piece of paper. Now, I did this when I was studying this in my Bible. I just took, in my office, I just took everything, kind of broke it down. Okay, I got the country of Judah is one country. What was this? Do you have another one there? Israel. Okay. So we got Israel. And for you on the camera, they would have been north, south. Okay. So you would have the Mediterranean Sea here, Jordan River here, Dead Sea down here, Sea of Galilee up here. Okay. So we have Judah, we have Israel, and one other country in this verse. You got that one, Josh?
Yes, it is Syria.
Syria. Okay. So, we've got Syria. Now, all you have to do is just keep these nations straight. Okay? As you're studying, you're looking at these 3 different countries. Now, Syria was located, you had to the north of Israel, maybe a little bit over here to the east, okay? But mostly north of Israel. So you have Syria, Israel, Judah. Now, in verse 1, we also have the names of their kings, okay? So Judah, who's the king of Judah, Wilson? Ahaz, king of Judah. Good. Who's the king of Israel, Josh?
Pekah, the son of Remaliah.
Okay. Pekah, the son of Remaliah. Why did you say he's the son of Remaliah?
So that people know, because God got so angry at this Pekah guy that he didn't even call him by his name. He just called him the son of Remaliah.
Right. So the rest of the chapter, Pekah is going to be referred to as the son of Remaliah. And up here in Syria, who's the king up here in Syria, Wilson? Oh, look at verse 1. Rezim. Okay, not Rezin, like the stuff from a tree, right? But this is Rezim, the king of Syria, okay? So whenever you hear Syria, you can think about this country up here to the north. When you hear Israel, you think about Pekah right here. When you read Judah, you hear about here. Now, here's the other thing that you can do. You can put this video on pause, and you can go to 2 Kings 15 and 16. And you can read about the account of what is happening here. 2 Kings 15 and 16 tell us that Syria got together with Israel and invaded Judah. When Syria joined Israel and invaded Judah, Ahaz, the king of Judah, went up to Damascus and met with Tiglath-Pileser, who was the king of another country called Assyria, right? Don't get them mixed up with Syria, right? Assyria is over here to the east. Nineveh is the capital of Assyria. We'll get to them when we get to them in the passage. We'll put them on a piece of paper, put them over here, okay?
Okay.
All right, so Assyria, so instead of trusting God, Ahaz is going over here and he's making a confederation, or he's joining with Assyria, and he thinks that Assyria is going to protect him from Israel and Syria, okay? Got it? So now we kind of understand the context of the passage, and really that's the key to understanding these passages, just looking at it in the context, understanding who is who, where do they fit in the passage. Now understand that Isaiah, because he's writing from a prophetic standpoint, he's not going to say every time Israel ruled by Pekah or Syria ruled by Rezin. Instead, he's going to use the son of Remaliah. He's going to use the phrase Ephraim. He's going to use Zebulun. He's going to use Naphtali. Those are all words referring to Israel, which in the time period that Isaiah is talking, everybody would have understood that simply, right? Like, for example, we live in
U.S.,
what state?
Pennsylvania.
If I said the Keystone State,
You would have known it.
or if I said north of Philly, or if I said between Philly and Pittsburgh, or along the shores of Delaware, right? Those are all phrases, like, I don't have to explain that to the people watching, right? Now, 500 years from now, if we use that kind of phrase, people have to, well, those are all names referring to Pennsylvania. Oh, why does that? It doesn't bother us now, but when we read something like this, we're like, oh, I'm so confused. No, just sort it out, right? Sort it out, put the phrases with the people, and you can understand the passage. All right, so here we go. That takes care of verse 1, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's get into verse 2. It says, and it was told the house of David. Okay, on our 3 sheets, the house of David is which one? Judah. Okay, don't go Israel. Why is Judah?
Because Judah was David's tribe, right?
Boom. David was from the tribe of Judah. Okay, so it was told the house of David, saying that Syria, which one's that, Wilson? Okay, that's the easy one, right? Was confederate with Ephraim. Which one? Israel. There you go, okay? And his heart was moved, and the heart of the whole people, as the trees of the wood are moved with the wind. So, Judah, scared or not scared? Josh, there you go. Okay. Yeah, they're scared because Syria gets confederate with Ephraim. Oh, who's Ephraim? It's just Israel. Okay, another word for Israel, right? All right, got it. Okay, so God's going to help his people. They're down in Jerusalem, they're scared, so he gives Isaiah a job to do. Verse 3, he says, then said the Lord unto Isaiah, go forth now to meet Ahaz. Which one is Ahaz of our 3?
Me.
Judah. He's the king of Judah. Thou and Shear-Jashub, okay, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool in the highway of the fuller's field. Okay, so God sends Isaiah with Shear-Jashub. How big is Shear-Jashub?
Like 12 months, maybe.
Yeah, he's a little
9
baby,
months.
okay? And he says, I want you to go meet Ahaz. Why do you think Ahaz was checking out the plumbing system of the city?
Make sure it's not poisoned.
Okay, because the enemy, Syria and Israel, are surrounding Jerusalem. They are ready to attack. Okay, now, here's the message. Verse 4, here's the message that Isaiah and his little son Shear-Jashub give to Isaiah. Verse 4 says, and say unto them, take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither be faint-hearted. For the 2 tails of these smoking firebrands, for the fierce anger of Rezin with Syria and the son of Remaliah, because Syria and Ephraim and the son of Remaliah, they have taken evil counsel against thee, saying, let us go up against Jerusalem and vex it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set a king in the midst of it, even the son of Tabiel. Okay, so, time out, let's stop, let's go back and see what he says. Okay, Isaiah tells Ahaz in verse 4, be afraid or not afraid?
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Fear not, neither be faint-hearted. And he calls these 2, he calls them the tails of the smoking firebrands. Okay, you want to explain to us what a firebrand is?
It's a piece of wood in a fire that's charcoal, and it's almost about to be burned out.
Yeah, it's just the tail. It's the little piece of wood that's left. It's about to be burned out. Good job. Glad I told you that before we turned the camera on. Okay, now, he says, don't be afraid of Israel and don't be afraid of Syria. And verse 5 and 6 he says, because what did they say? They said, Syria and Israel said, let us go to Judah and let's kick out Ahaz, and we're going to put in our own king, the son of Tabeel. We don't know who that guy is. It's a guy that they wanted to put in king so that they could control Jerusalem. Okay? So, verse 7. Thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. Before we jump into verse 8, what did God say would not come to pass, Wilson?
It will not.
You're right. It just says it would not come
It
to
will.
pass. But referring to the earlier verses, what is it referring to?
It is Israel and Syria taking over Judah.
There you go. They had a plan. Syria, Israel, take over Judah. God says that's not going to come to pass. Okay? Got it? Now, verse 8, we sometimes get confused because now, all of a sudden, it says, for the head of Syria is Damascus. Okay? What's Damascus?
Damascus is Syria.
The capital of
Syria.
Syria.
Well, it
Okay?
says the head of Syria is Damascus.
And is Rezin. So you got Damascus, capital with the king. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. So Israel is going to be broken within 65 years. Verse 9. And the head of Ephraim is Samaria. And the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son.
Pekah.
Okay. So once again, God's just going back and saying, listen, the head of Ephraim is Samaria. Samaria was the capital city in Israel. Okay? But look at the end of verse 9. It says, if ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established. Okay? So God tells Ahaz, here's what's going to happen, Ahaz. Okay? These two countries are going to try and attack you. They will not have any strength. But if you won't believe me, you won't be established. You will not last as a nation. You will not last. Your sons will not be able to serve on the throne. Okay? So, those first 9 verses, hard or difficult? That's a trick question. Easy or hard?
Easy.
They're difficult.
Oh.
But if you break them down and say, okay, who's Syria, who's Israel, who's Judah, it's not that difficult to understand what's going on. But most of us don't take the time to do that, right? We're just like, oh, hey, Pastor Tom needs me to read chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Well, I'm just going to read through them. Okay, I don't know what it means, but I'm just going to keep reading. No, if we take the time to study it in its context, we can understand what God is saying, okay? Now, verse 10, this is amazing because now we get into another part of the chapter, okay? And we've looked at the setting of the scene. We've looked at the prophecy. Now, we see that Ahaz rejects the prophecy. Isaiah says in verse 10, moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, once again, he's speaking through Isaiah, right? It says, ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God. Ask it either in the depth or in the height above. So Isaiah says to Ahaz, hey, let me give you a sign. I'll show you that God is going to keep his promise. You can ask anything. If you want something in the heavens to happen, great. You want something down the earth to happen. You want an earthquake. You want a cave to develop. You want special stars in the sky. God will do it for you, Ahaz, because he wants you to know that he's telling the truth. How does Ahaz respond? Verse 12. You want to read that for us, Wilson? Read it good loud so we can hear you.
But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord.
Ahaz says, hey, I'm not going to tempt God. He sounds all pious, right? But think about this, guys. Why does Ahaz not want to know that God's prophecies are true? What do you think, Wilson?
Idols everywhere.
Right, because if you go back and read 2 Kings chapter 15 and 16, you find out that Ahaz put idols in every corner in Jerusalem. So if God's prophecies are true, you have to look at the prophecies in chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 about judgment coming on the nation of Judah. There is no way that Ahaz wants God's prophecies to be true. So he's kind of stuck in a corner, but he tries to sound pious. He says, I will not test the Lord. So Isaiah comes back with this. Okay? Verse 13, he says, and he said, hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men? But will you weary my God also? Isaiah is saying, hey, Ahaz, you're not just wearying men, you are wearying God. Therefore, the Lord himself, he will give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Okay? Now, Verse 14, Isaiah 7:14 is referring to whom, Joshua?
Jesus.
Jesus Christ, right? How do we know that, Wilson?
Because in was it Matthew?
That's right, in the book of Matthew.
The angel tells Mary, remember when Isaiah said that a virgin will conceive a child, bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Right, very good. We can sit here and conjecture all the time, but we're told in Matthew in the New Testament that this prophecy applies directly to Jesus Christ, okay? And the angel comes to Mary and Joseph and says, hey, you're going to have a baby. This was prophesied by Isaiah. Here it is. It's happening, okay? And the prophet Simeon also refers to this. But all of a sudden you get into verse 14. It says, verse 15. It says, butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know how to refuse the evil and to choose the good. Obviously, Jesus Christ comes, the name Emmanuel, God with us. He's going to make right choices. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Now, you got to remember verse 16, all right? Isaiah is holding who?
Her.
Shear Jashub, right? He's holding his little baby, right? And he says right here, before the child, pointing right here to his son, shall know how to refuse evil and choose good, the land that you abhor shall be forsaken of both her king. Isaiah is telling Ahaz, listen, before this little tiny baby gets old enough to know between good and evil, these two kings, Israel and Syria, are going to be wiped out. They're going to be gone, okay? And in fact, we know from history that within 2 years, both of these kings were removed from the throne, exactly as Isaiah is describing here to King Ahaz. Now, that is the rejection. Ahaz rejected God's prophecy. So because Ahaz rejected God's prophecy, God gives him another little description of what is going to happen in the future. And we're going to see another kingdom that we've got to add here. Okay, go to verse 17. It says, the Lord shall bring upon thee, and upon thy people, and upon thy father's house, days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. So God says to Ahaz, listen, from the time that the kingdom separated, there's going to be days that you've never experienced before because there's a new king. What's his name? What country is coming now?
Syria.
Syria. Very good. Syria. Okay, now, wait a minute. Didn't we learn at the very beginning of this lesson that Ahaz went up and tried to make an alliance with Assyria?
Yes.
Yes. So instead of trusting God, Ahaz is trusting Assyria. But God says, you know what? You're going to have some seriously bad times because Assyria is going to come. You can see what happens, okay? Verse 19 says, and they shall come, and shall rest all of them in the desolate valleys, and in the holes of the rocks, and upon all thorns, and upon all bushes. And in the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them beyond the river, by the king of Assyria, the head and the hair of the feet, and it shall also consume the beard. Okay? So God tells Ahaz Assyria is going to be like what, Wilson?
A razor.
A razor, okay? And he's going to shave the head. Who's the head of Judah?
Ahaz.
Ahaz. Oh, Ahaz is going to get shaved. Do you think he's just going to get hair removed from his head?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think he's
going
going
to
to
get a lot more removed, right? Okay? And it says it's going to shave the beard, okay? In
Yeah.
their culture, the beard was like a sign of being a man and manliness. So in order to humiliate people, the Assyrians actually did it. They would actually shave off their beard, and a lot of times they would take off a lot of other clothes as well, and they make them walk around ashamed and humiliated. So Isaiah says, hey, Ahaz, you're trusting in Assyria. They're going to come here, and they are going to bring judgment on you. You are going to be shaved by them. And as you keep reading,
all these nations.
verse 21 says, and it shall come to pass in that day that a man shall nourish a young cow and 2 sheep. And it shall come to pass, for the abundance of milk that they shall give, he shall eat butter for butter, and honey shall everyone eat that is left in the land. Okay. Verse 22, is this sounding good or bad?
If you like butter, kind of bad, because he's the only one who has butter.
Okay. This is actually a prophecy. I know normally we talk about the land that flows with milk and honey as a good thing, but here it's a bad thing, okay? Because How many animals does this man have?
2 goats and
A
a
young
cow.
cow and 2 sheep.
Okay, 3, right?
Oh, 3.
Yep.
Yeah, 3.
Guess what? In Judah at this time, what was a sign of wealth?
Animals.
How many
Wow.
animals you had, right? So if you had 3 animals, are you wealthy or poor?
4.
You're very poor, okay? And what does this guy have to eat?
Honey and milk and butter.
Okay, so does he have any wheat?
No.
No. Olive oil?
No.
No. Grape juice?
No.
No. Like meat?
Not
Well,
really.
No. Okay. So God is saying this is a picture, and these they would have understood this in their context. That hey, you've got this poor guy, all he's got is 1 cow and 2 sheep, and he's taking them out in the wilderness trying to find enough food so that he can just eat the milk or the butter and eat honey that he's finding out in the wilderness. Verse 23 says, "And it shall come to pass in that day that every place shall be where there were 1,000 vines at 1,000 silverlings, and it shall even be for briars and thorns." So when the Assyrians come, the places that were full of vines of grapes are
Are
now
gonna
going to
be
be full
weeds.
of briars, thorns, right? Verse 24 says, "With arrows and with bows shall men come thither, because all the land shall become briars and thorns." So it's going to be the happy hunting ground, right? Yeah, it's going to be, hey, it's a great place to go hunting. Why? Because there's no fields, there's no crops, there's no people. So people are going to come and, bring their bows and arrows and go hunting because it's all overrun with vegetation, it's overrun with weeds, woods. Nobody's living there. Verse 25, "And on all the hills that shall be digged with the mattock, there shall not one come thither. The fear of briars and thorns, but it shall be for the sending forth of oxen and for the treading of the lesser cattle." Guess what? Their place is not going to be farmland anymore. It's just going to be like this grazing land, this desolate, wasted place. Why? Because Ahaz chose to trust
Assyria.
Assyria, and Assyria actually comes and destroys Ahaz. Yes, sir.
Actually, you don't want in the part where he says lesser cattle. I thought that was interesting because that would means there probably was going to be briars and stuff. Like my Uncle Jimmy's dry cows are put out in like pastures to graze and stuff like that.
Exactly. Right. It's not a good place to be. Now, we like this chapter, right, guys?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it doesn't it goes it for us.
Yeah, that's right. We don't get in trouble in this chapter, right? It's just okay. Yeah, Ahaz was dumb. Ahaz didn't trust God, and God judged him with Assyria. Now we have the opportunity to look back in history and see that's exactly what happened. Is that there were multiple times when Assyria came down and fought against Judah. Now Assyria was not able to completely conquer Judah. Assyria did not conquer Jerusalem, but the land around Jerusalem was made desolate. It was just like Isaiah is describing here. Wow. So,
Sad.
what do we say about Ahaz?
He was dumb.
Dumb,
He was
right?
dumb to trust Assyria.
All right. He dumb. He trusted Assyria. Now, hold on. Can we make this apply to us here in 2020?
Yes.
Yes.
How? What do you think, Wilson?
So, an example was Judah trusted Assyria and didn't trust the Lord. So these days, many people are trusting themselves and
Okay.
other people to help them when we could ask the Lord to help us.
In fact, it's kind of the motto of our society, right? Believe in yourself. If you believe it, you can do it. Have it your way. You're going to be taught to trust yourself and not in God. And the thing that Ahaz trusted in ended up destroying him. And the same way, if we are not trusting God, the thing that we choose to trust in, guess what? It can end up destroying us. Yes, sir.
We met,
All right, let's not talk about individuals, okay?
right, but this is an example about it. We met the guy who was doing drugs. I
Okay.
was thinking,
I just said we're not going to talk about that. All
but
right?
drugs,
Okay, so people
believe
are
in that.
trusting.
you will just get destroyed with that.
Okay, people are trusting in drugs. They might trust in education. They might trust in all of these things. But right here in the middle of this chapter is what we should trust in, right? Verse 14, Isaiah comes to Ahaz and says, "A virgin will conceive and bear a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel." Emmanuel means God with us. Right here in the middle of all this trouble, all this hardship, Ahaz is told, you know what, Jesus Christ is going to come to help you deal with your sin, help you deal with your difficulty. Now, those of you that are listening out there to the Sunday school, you got a lot more reading to do, okay? You got chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, okay? And as you read chapter 7 and chapter 8, you get in chapter 8, you're going to learn about another son of Isaiah. His name is Maher-Shalal-Hashbaz, okay? And it means that the enemy's going to come and plunder and take. It was once again a picture of what was going to happen to the nation. But once you get into chapter 9, you're going to find out that it's talking about the future kingdom that Jesus Christ is going to come and establish, even future from our point. And then chapter 11 and 12 describe the perfect government. We're going to look at that this morning in our morning service. We're going to look at the perfect government. Guess what? Is the perfect government made up by man?
Nope.
No, because if man is part of the government, it's not perfect, right?
Yep.
Okay? Instead, it's the government that is ruled over by Jesus Christ. So, hey, you guys, thanks so much, guys, for being with me this morning. And did we have a good 4th of July celebration yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, wasn't it? Yeah, okay, we'll have to talk about that later. Tell me all about what you guys did, right? But we're looking forward to worshiping with all the rest of you in just a few hours over at the Highland Park Camp meeting. Hey,
Yep.
Pastor Tom signing off.